I got a question for you about, you were talking about the beginning and you were saying a lot of people like blew up. A lot of people had a lot of challenges trading last year, but that narrative isn't out there. Does it ever piss you off that you have to be like the standard bearer for transparency?
It does. It definitely does. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it does. It makes you not want to talk about losses at all because it doesn't even seem like that content anybody even wants, right? So why even put that there if nobody wants it, right? Why don't just talk about good trades? Don't even show, don't show P&L. Don't, don't show a track record. Don't do any of that stuff. It makes you want to just, do what everybody else is doing kind of thing and just act like shit's all good. But again, if we're talking about such a small amount and that's all the content that is out there, it obviously doesn't make sense. It obviously does not make sense. Somebody is not speaking. And unfortunately, it's difficult, right? It's difficult to talk about losses. It's difficult because you don't feel good, right? And then there's life that's tied to that, right? If you ain't got no money, your life is tied to that. So you ain't gonna be feeling like doing any content. Let's be real about it, right? There's always people who are real in the game. We know many of them, and those were the ones that reached out always to me. Once I blew out that account, I got emails from all of them, and and it was all love. They knew, and and that was mostly what they wrote. It was like, "Yo, it's all good. You've been here before, man. It's just do what you do, kind of.
I always just wondered that because I get annoyed on your behalf when you're the one out there, putting that out there, and everybody
I gotta eat it.
Well, that leads into Unbreakable, the theme of it. So you obviously have a reputation for being or resilience from your ability to just like always stick in the game. I mean, what do you, for knowing your experience going through all this, for people who got rocked last year, what do you say to those kind of people?
Through all of this, it's like, and again, I'm not 100%. It's not like I feel this way all the time. There's moments that are depressing. There's other moments that are very fulfilling. There's other moments that are very free. There's other moments where you feel you're back in survival mode because you got to go back to you got to go back to basic. And work back from scratch again. There's so many ways to kind of look at this. But the one thing that I would say is and the sort of overreaching kind of point that encompasses everything, is the fact that you're still alive. You still got the ability. You still have the edge. You never lost it. You just lost yourself. You lost yourself somewhere along the road because of whatever you had going on. And it takes a while for us to find ourselves. And again, I'm talking about myself in particular. Other people are quicker than me. Other people don't, they don't experience the emotional sort of swings that I do. Other people don't pack on so much other things on top of their shoulders. Other people don't like taking care of a lot of other people. Other people kind of keep it simple. I keep it complicated. I always keep it complicated. I always keep it moving. I always keep it, I always want to do more. At the highest level, you're still alive. You got a shot. Once you leave what happened behind, right? The more you hold on to this and the more you're asking yourself, well, why? How come I messed this up? How come I didn't do this? How come I didn't do that? It's like, bro, you lost your chance to ask those questions. The question you should be asking is, what do I need to do to separate myself from all the happen and get back into the right mindset? You go back to those things, you reconnect with yourself and figure out what's the next stage, what do you want, and then you go right back at it. So after this process, I've already done that, right? Now I know what my next 10 years is going to look like. I've mapped this kind of stuff out, and that's what I want to go after. But the point is that you lost to find yourself. You had to lose to find yourself through that process. So while you were losing and trying to grab on to any stick that was thrown at you here, just so you could catch a breather here and stop feeling so bad, you're preventing yourself from finding that why, finding that reason, so once you lose it, now you got no choice. I mean, people only wake up until chaos happens. So does it have to happen? No. Are there risk management things that you can do to make sure it doesn't happen? Of course. Does it happen? Happens all the time. And I hate that narrative is not out there. It's not out there at all. Nobody talks about that narrative.
You mean that people don't change until it gets really bad for them, that they have to experience chaos to change what they're doing. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That narrative is not really out there. The narrative is, times will get tough and this is going to be hard, but keep going kind of thing. So what are you going to do? You have to live with yourself while you're trading. Yeah, that's kind of.
I mean, it's fascinating to hear you talk about like the root of it all is losing touch with yourself, right? And so the path forward, the way back, is to get back in touch with yourself. And you're saying, the way for you. I mean, you've been talking about like you're basically treating beach tennis like a semi-professional athlete at this point. You're like every time I talk to you, Lucci and I will be like, "Yo, you want to do a meeting this time of day?" And Lucci's like, "No, I can't because I have a workout in the gym, like, because I got to get my calves to a certain point so I can move like this on the beach and everything. And I'm like, all right, this is not just a hobby. Like, this is this is a vehicle for you to get back in touch with yourself.
Dude, 100%. There's nothing that can make me feel right now how I feel on the beach playing like good beach tennis. Like I just walked off the beach today and I seen a couple of the pros, like 4 of them, and I just sat there and I watched them because these guys just fly in the sand, and the way that the touch that they have is so incredible. And when I'm talking about touch, it's like you have to arrive at the ball, you have to plant your feet and your body in a certain place just to get the shot off, and then you have to you now have to use your hand and your arm here to graze the ball in with the right top spin, the right lift, the right position, right? You have to see where your opponent is from the outside the corner of your eye and shit. And all this, like, has to happen in a fraction of a second. And if I know I can beat X, Y, and Z player or whatever, like, it gives me all the confidence back in it. And it lets you know that, all right, if you put the work in, shit's going to come out. So stop feeling bad about yourself. Stop feeling go you got no other choice. There's no new skill set. The skill set that you're talking about or you're referring to is the awareness that you're not using your skill set because you're emotionally tied to some other reaction and you're now away from your bread and butter, your skill set, aka reading tape. You ain't reading tape anymore. You're just hoping an option will go to X, Y, and Z so you can get out of the misery that you're in. That's all you're doing. There's also a timing aspect. You're also looking for your market. Yep. So after 15 years or 16 years of doing this shit, I don't even know how long I've been. It's like understanding yourself so damn well that you know when to shut it off. You know when to shut it off, and you know when to press it, and you know when to chill. And unfortunately, those factors are often influenced by external and emotions and all that kind of stuff. Those are the 3 things that are always influenced by other. And if you've got a lot of other influencing your ability to be able to push it and know when to push it and know when to chill, that can make or break you. But it hasn't been my game because I can't make money and I can't read it. It hasn't been my game because of all the other external factors and that I got going on. Right. And again, you know, you're not putting blame on these things, but at the same time, all these things have a factor to push you into a mindset where you ain't got control of, you know, your habits, your behaviors, your decisions.
We were talking about kind of your early days, you know, part of the theme for this whole series is all in. And I feel like in your first 18 months, you went all in on trading.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You were like, this is all I'm fucking doing. I mean, do you think it's necessary for anybody who's at that like initial phase, 6 months to maybe a year or 2, to just have a period where they go all in?
I think this generation believes that it can get the same results without having to do the work or going about it some other way. I think this new generation believes that they can figure it out from a different perspective, from a different set of tools, from literally anything. They can kind of reinvent the game, so to speak. And I really do think that is because when you say go all in, what does that really mean to you? You know, do you want to know what it means to me? It means you cut out all the distractions and you just do this one thing until you figure it out. You know, everything is about scenarios and strategies for tennis. You know this, where you're placing the ball, angles and where to place it so that your opponent has less options, all that stuff. So I don't think when you say going all in, it's like, yeah, that's the pinnacle of what it should look like. You know what most of us are at? Most of us are the wanting to go all in, but can't manifest the energy to go all in. That's where most people are sitting. Right. It's literally where most people are at. You know exactly what you need to do, that you need to kill this, and this, all this distraction so that you can go all in on what you really want. You can't get there because something keeps pulling you back.
You saying I got to get back in touch with myself. It's more psychological. It's almost spiritual on that level, right?
How to allow your body to train your body enough to, and then how to allow it to do what it's supposed to do.
And I think one of the problems that people have when they're coming out from the public is they're like, oh, I see Lucci and he's doing that kind of work, so I need to do that. No, you've been training for 6 months. You don't know how to read tape. You don't know how options move. The work you need to be doing and going all in on is tactical, is how to understand what to do, to find your edge, to have an edge. And I think that's one of the places where people get lost because they're doing the wrong kind of work, and they're not acknowledging where they're at in their career and their development. And that's one of the reasons why we make the master course as sort of comprehensive as it is, instead of being very, very, specific of, oh, we're just going to teach you how to trade, weekly options, is because we have people who come in from all different levels.
To push that fear narrative, yeah, fine, maybe you'll get a couple days out of it or whatever, but it ain't here. It's not here. You think about what our mentality was when these things come along, and they are over. It's almost like you can't fight them because everybody believes it. And if everybody around you believes it, how could you fight? You're just, it's so easy to the wave's too big. It's too big, which means we as human beings here, to make it as a trader or to make it as anything, you got to be a top peak. You got to be a top peak person. How do you even do that? How do you do that? You know, you got to shut some off here and go all in.
That is a perfect note to end on. You know, Lucci always keeping it real, telling it like it is. This is one of the reasons why the master course has been so successful, had such an impact on so many people over the years we've been doing it. This is the last time we're doing it in this format. This is the last time we're going to do a master course. So March 25th, you guys want in, this is the last time. After that, it's going to be a lot more expensive to learn from the whole team in this context. And it's probably going to be an in-person event in New York or Puerto Rico or something like that. We're just not going to teach things in the same way anymore. So if you guys want in, you want this kind of energy, you want this perspective, and obviously the skill sets that we teach, now's the time to do it. Luch, appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time, your honesty, you being you. Appreciate it.
No doubt, Charles. Talk soon, man.